hair colored because I got it cut last week. And so David made us hair appointments. And I was like, well, he was getting his hair colored for Pride, so I thought I would do it too. So it's kind of like a honey brown color, but it's kind of mixed into my existing one. So it's, if I'm in like sunlight, you can definitely tell, but like in darker lighting, it just looks a little bit lighter.
It does look lighter.
Yeah.
Well, good for you. Very cool, Ryan. Very cool.
How was your day?
It was good. We had a lot to do, as usual. But it was fun. We had a good time. What was I going to say? We went to Hot Topic, and I saw all the Riverdale gear, and I almost bought stuff, but I was like, I don't have time.
Yeah, next time I'm at the mall, I might look at what they have again. I know there's like a big patch you can buy of the serpents, and it was like, I could probably...
They have a big, like a shirt. Like, you know how they do those photo shirts now where it's like photos on a shirt?
Yep.
It's like a bunch of photos of all the of all the characters in the cast. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like photos from the show. All over this like tank top. But I feel like I almost wanted to get it, but I feel like they didn't take it far enough. Like, it should have been more intense. It should have been, instead of like the photos, it was just photos like in squares or rectangles, but it should have been like cutouts of them, and it should have been like a huge Cheryl Blossom. Like, it should have been huge pictures, and they just weren't, it wasn't intense enough to make it worth it. I was like, this shirt is like not as cool as it could be.
I was trying to find, I took a picture for you of, here it is. So Vanessa Morgan had this on her Instagram story, which I think was really funny. So she tried to call Madeline.
But I can't.
It says FaceTime unavailable. And so she took a picture of it with a pouty face and then sent it to her. And it just like made me happy. So.
Yes, everybody loves them. People ship them too hard, though. I feel like people should leave alone. They're just friends. It's fine.
Well, I think the moral of this story is like, stay off the internet. Because I think sometimes you're on the internet too much and it's just, you're exposed to the crazy people. So.
I should stay off the internet. I've been trying to do that more. But yet, here I am right now on the internet with you, my friend.
Well, the internet is what we use the internet for positivity when we use it to connect to each other. That's how I feel.
That's true. That's true. All right. I'm ready whenever you are.
Yes. I am ready for you, with you, because of you.
Okay. Hold on. Okay. All right. Hi, Ryan.
Hi, Rose.
You always say it much more cheerful than me.
I think I've said this before, but I think I always say it like I'm surprised. Like,
yes, you say that all the time.
Yeah, we just encountered each other.
But I'm always just like, hi, Ryan. I should say it like I'm excited.
Okay, but the other thing that I would just like to say is I don't think people understand that we do this like so late at night now. It seems that we're just getting later and later. Like, we are practicing in the band room of Riverdale High, like Josie.
It's like we want Svensson to come find us.
Oh my God, I feel like, because I'm using, here's another plug, I'm using Netflix, so I can be in my like big living room on my big TV, which I couldn't do when I normally podcast. I got to go in our smaller TV room that has cable. And so, because we have 2 TV rooms, because I'm basically a baller. It's all of that money after moving to Massachusetts, guys. Like, I live in an actual house now. So some of the pictures, like the little thumbnails they have for season 2 episodes are great. But the one for chapter 29, Primary Colors, is a picture of just all of the girls combing each other's hair. in that line. Do you remember that crap?
Yeah, of course do I remember that. Can I ever forget it?
You can't.
That's what I'm saying. Well, that's the only thing from that episode that people need to know. If you want to watch this episode, you will want to watch, like, if you want to watch this, then this episode is for you. If you want girls in a line combing their hair, then get it right here, right now. Get it while it's hot. Okay. But today we're not talking about that episode, unfortunately. Sadly, I could have talked about that one forever.
I just think, I mean, I'm trying to decide like new Facebook timeline pictures or things we could tweet that we could make into like Riverdale memes, and I feel like that one is a
100%
distinct possibility. Yeah,
it's a classic already. It's an instant classic. But today we're talking about chapter 35. What is it called? Chapter 35, Brave New World.
Yeah, Brave New World.
The finale of season 2.
It's a picture. That one is a picture on Netflix of them at the grave. So right. I feel like they're trying not to give anything away.
Because it starts out with Jughead, with Betty and Veronica and Archie at Jughead's grave. Did you think for even 1 second that Jughead was actually dead?
No, we talked about this. No.
How could Jughead be dead? He's Jughead. The whole fucking thing is about Jughead. He's the narrator. Well,
it would be hilarious if, like, then I guess what was the silly name of his sister? Jellybean. It'd be funny if like Jellybean came, but it was just it looked exactly like Jughead. Like, yeah.
Like his identical twin younger sister.
Yeah, but it was like his sister decided to like be a dude now and was like, yeah, so what? And then like, you know, there's a whole story about Betty having conflicted feelings because
Jellybean is reminding her of Jughead.
But it's not Jughead, you know?
No, it's Jellybean. I feel like Cole Sprouse could pull it off, but that's not the direction they went with it.
But then they reveal Jughead is alive, and then they are aided.
Hold on.
Time out, guys. Hi, Jen. Oh, hi. Is that Peyton?
Yes.
Hi, Peyton. I almost didn't recognize you, Peyton, because you're so big. Hi.
Okay, give me a kiss.
Oh, I like the puppy. So, Peyton, I'm going to see you in a couple weeks in Maine.
Mm-hmm.
Are you excited?
Yeah.
Yeah, you get to see my friend David, too. I don't know if you remember him.
I don't even think they met David.
They did. They showed him how to make slime.
Oh, my gosh. Of course. All right, give me a kiss. Say goodnight.
Oh, you're not making the noise. The dog actually makes barking noises?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. Jen is like, yes, it does.
Come on, buddy. Bedtime. Good night.
Bye, Peyton. I'll see you soon, okay? Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye. I'm glad I got to see you.
Come on, Angel. Out of the room. Okay, now you've said goodnight. Now it's time for bed. What are you doing?
Oh, was it the stuffed animals barking, or was it
No, it was the stuffed animal. It's called a little live pet, and it like makes noise and does things. Okay, good night.
Okay, bye, Peyton.
Good night.
No.
Bye, Jen.
Bye.
Okay, so they don't go. It's fine. They don't go that route though. Jellybean does not appear. Jughead is alive, and Betty calls him back to life with her words, "Jughead, come back to me." Is that what she says? Or Jughead, come back? Something like that.
I think it says come back. Does she say come back to me? I don't know. I can turn my subtitles on.
At any rate, he comes back. He wasn't dead, despite the best efforts of Penny Peabody. I can't believe that she was trying to kill him. Like, I was just thinking about that. They're fucking nuts, man. She was just trying to kill a boy. Like, what? What's going on in this career?
Well, he did, like, cut off skin of her arm or something. I don't know.
I know, but murder. I guess she doesn't care. I'm not a murderer. I think it's a little much. What else is going on in Riverdale today? I mean,
well, the riot just happened, but it's like, I don't know, this isn't like the night after the riot, because basically what they do is they talk about that it's basically like Jughead has had recovery time. of like a week. He's been in the hospital for like a week because he wakes up and he looks great. He's just like all over being beaten up.
He's got some stitches and stuff. He does look like he's been roughed up, but it's all fine now. He's definitely on the mend. And some time has passed. Let's see, what else is going on in Riverdale?
I'm looking. I just rewound, so I looked at the previously. So we have to remember that there was murder in the woods. Remember, because that comes back in this, and
you mean
that's pretty much it. Hermione having to kill Mini Poutine.
Yes. So Hermione's the mayor now?
No, in this episode, she becomes elected as the mayor.
Okay.
She's not the mayor yet.
Okay, they haven't had it's been a while. They haven't had the election yet. So they haven't had the election yet. And
sorry, both the mayoral election and the student body election takes place in this episode towards the end of it.
That's right. That's right. And the student body election, we've all but forgotten about, which is hilarious because then that's basically what happens in this episode. I mean, you don't even need to wait for it. Basically, Veronica, Betty, Archie, and Jughead are all like, yeah, we don't actually want to be president of the student body. We're just not going to bother.
So
Betty, sorry, not Archie. Betty, Veronica, and Jughead.
So Betty officially says, so you come back to me. That's what she says. So she does say, come back to me at the end of that sentence. Okay. So we're dealing with when Jughead wakes up, which first of all, I guess he has a couple cuts and whatever's on his face, but he still looks pretty good for having been beaten to an inch of his life. His hair looks amazing when he wakes up in the hospital room, which is very unfair. And then his dad is there, FP, who tells him that basically the serpents don't exist anymore and that some of them left town and some of them defected to the ghoulies.
Right. Which is a dumb thing because later on you find out that that's not what happened. And I'm like, did he think that wasn't going to be something that Jughead would find out?
But I don't exactly know what his play with was here, but this is what I would like to call, because I alluded to wanting to talk about this one in the last one, and let me just tell you that, first of all, this show has a lot of people talking to other people, right? Where they're giving them like misinformation and lies. This episode has a very distinct problem that both Veronica and Archie are guilty of when we get there. So I'm going to start by telling you what the problem is right away. They give Hiram Lodge too much information in that he is able to actively go after them in the ways that they could be undone, but only because they gave him the information. So here's the example. Hiram knows that somebody bought the white worm. White worm, thank you. I knew I was messing it up. So he knows that someone bought the white worm, but he doesn't know who it is. So then Veronica's just mwahahaing at him, going, I'm the one who bought it. And then he basically is like, listen, this is what you can do, or you don't have an inheritance anymore, right?
Right.
And then which I think she chooses to do, if I recall correctly. And then at the end, Archie goes to him, and then he's reminding him of that whole thing that happened in the woods with the guy that Andre shot to death. And then Hiram uses it against him at the end of the episode. So you're dumb. Kids, you're dumb. Why don't you not tell Hiram these things, not have interactions with him, and then you're probably going to do better of fighting him long term.
I agree. Right? I thought that whole white worm thing was so weird too, because she's like, I'm gonna get the white worm so I could use it against my father. And then she gets the white worm and then she's like, okay, JK, I want this other thing. It was within 10 seconds of itself. So I don't know. It was like they were trying to make too many moves within a short period of time. And so they had to reveal to him the information or else it wouldn't advance what they wanted to accomplish in the plot by the end of the episode. But it was logistically silly for them to do, or strategically silly for them to do within the world of the story. I agree. But you know who doesn't have problems with strategy?
Who?
Cheryl Blossom. Her strategy is on point. She has her attorney there, and she has, I guess, become. What did she do legally? Like, what did she do?
Oh, well, so
was
this is confusing because she says she's going to emancipate herself, but that's
Right.
actually sort of not what she does. She ends up getting Nana Rose as her legal guardian. And then so she's not really emancipated, it seems like. So, but she's able to like wrest control of the estate that they have from her mother and uncle.
But how? Okay, I'm not going to bother with how. I don't know why I care. But that doesn't seem like I could see her becoming emancipated because I could see her having some sort of case where she's like, my mother doesn't have my best interests at heart. My mother is prostituting herself. But I guess maybe she could make a case that her mother's unfit and she needs a legal guardian. But if her mother still has legal custody of her, then she would have to like sign off on that. But then again, maybe Cheryl just threatened her and was like, make her my legal guardian. But guardianship, just to be real, guardianship doesn't all the legal responsibility of parenthood. So like if her mother to go to the court and say, well, I renounce, I don't want her to have Nana Rose as her guardian anymore. Where'd you go? Ryan?
I'm right here.
Okay, there you are. So I don't know. I mean, I'm glad Nana Rose is her guardian. Nana Rose is way more on the Pride Parade float than her mom was. But
I think she does like separate. She basically separates from she because that's what emancipation is sort of. It's like divorcing your parents, right? So she does exactly. Like she does that. They do like a letter of separation or something. So I think it's like she has no legal standing. And then because really what happened was
right. That's Cheryl, what I'm saying. But like that's not. I understand what you think. That's not what guardianship is. In guardianship, the legal parent still is her parent. They're a guardian. So it's not like guardianship is they're portraying it as legally.
Well, let me just tell you, I don't really think that they displayed Rose. I don't think that they accurately displayed what a gay conversion camp is either. So I would just argue that this show maybe doesn't have unrealistic portrayals of certain things. But I would say I was as confused as you because you think that Cheryl's going to have the full rights and privileges of an adult, but then she talks about Nana Rose being her guardian or something, which makes me think like Nana Rose is going to eventually be murdered later on or something.
Probably. So. Everybody gets murdered in this town. But the best thing is, okay, so not only does this Nana Rose thing confuse me, but Cheryl has released herself from her mother, but her mother is still allowed to live on her property. But I mean, maybe Nana Rose said, okay, she still can live here. I don't know. But her mother and Uncle Claudius are living in the barn or in one of the outbuildings. And then Cheryl goes over there to serve her mother with these papers, which seems like a terrible idea in the first place, just emotionally, to give your mother the separation papers, but okay. And she sees them talking to Hiram, plotting with Hiram. And so she gets really kind of freaked out, and she doesn't want them to see that she's there, and she hides in a barrel. How'd she get in that barrel so fast, Ryan?
And so quietly. It's a great scene of her being revealed to be in a barrel. But I'm starting to think that more and more she just has superhero abilities. So she was probably able to sort of jump up in the air and land in the barrel, just like she had amazing archery skills in the last one. So not that she probably practiced. Oh, I do. You know what? I do want to talk about this little Moose Kevin scene, if that's okay, because I really liked it. This was tough because you don't really see a lot of Moose and Kevin interact, but I like it when they do. And I feel like this was oddly this weird callback to how Moose is still attracted to Kevin, which we kind of revealed when he got shot. in the Black Hood one, which was in Kevin's episode, which was like 19 episodes ago. So
Moose
but
likes Kevin a lot. Moose and Kevin are a thing, but all I have to say, look, I'm glad for Moose and Kevin. I am interested in their relationship. I think Moose really cares for Kevin deeply, and I'm interested in what will happen between them, especially because Moose seems really conflicted about it. Kevin is very attracted to Moose. Like there's a complicated thing between them, and I do care. I do care. However, it did frustrate me a lot that Moose and Kevin, who have a relationship, but a complicated relationship, not an established, like they're not dating, right? Got this like pretty, they got a make out, right? And Tony and Cheryl, who like are asserting a deep commitment to each other in this episode by the end of it, did not even get to like hold hands. This is a little frustrating. I mean, it's not like a zero-sum game, but there is only so much time in the episode. So it just is like, okay, I appreciate that you're using the time for that. Like a little like snuggle or something on the other side, because they did film it. They did say that they did film it and they just didn't air it. And I'm like, why? Why?
Well, okay, so I would point out that the idea of, first of all, they only give something ridiculous like a minute to the Moose Kevin thing.
No, it's very quick.
So it's super quick. But I would also say that you need to be able to establish why Moose and Kevin would even get together, because they sort of left it with Moose not with maybe the opening that he's still attracted to Kevin, but that he had a girlfriend and then he was in a pretty committed relationship. So they basically say he's super upset. Like, that's the other thing, is I don't think Kevin and Moose are probably going to, I don't know if they're going to date, because like that would be an interesting dynamic, I think, next year, because it seems like Moose is sort of spiraling a little bit when we see him. He's very upset that they took all this stuff out of Midge's locker. And then I think the idea was that if he had tried to kiss Kevin, would Kevin even kiss him back? And so the reason why they kind of have a makeout thing is to establish that they probably started banging again after this. And that's something we can talk about with Kevin's character. It is, I don't know, I think Kevin is a main character on the show. I think he got regular status last year. So, but this is also sort of interesting too, because we don't get a chart with like who is dating who in the show sometimes. And I guess like we know Midge and Moose were sort of still together, but we didn't check in with them a lot before she got murdered. But Reggie has his arm around Josie on the couch in the next scene.
Yeah, they're snuggling up a lot.
Are they dating? Because, or are they just like really close friends who snuggle?
I think they're probably laying the groundwork for them to eventually date. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, sometimes the show has so much, they put out these little, like, just these little breadcrumbs, and later on, I'm sure they will get to it, but it's just like, it takes a while because they have all these mysteries and all this soap opera drama and all these, like, different threads to connect. And so it's like the things that you want to know about, like the relationships among the characters, it takes forever to get to any meat on it. And I'm just saying, like, with Tony and Cheryl, they actually have taken big steps, like, pretty quickly, and they just haven't shown them. And I'm just like, what's up? What's up with them? So I'm just saying, I'd love to know what the hell's going on, because like Cheryl's like committing to be in a gang, and Tony looks super like romantically excited and like just proud of her, and she looks great, and it's a real great moment that we can talk about more later. But I'm just like, well, what else happened for them in the past few episodes? You just basically so far have like rescued her from a thing, rescued her from the conversion camp, and now she's joining your gang. There's probably a lot of things in between that I wish we could have known at least a little bit of. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I would say I think that the stuff, that the payoff at the end would be better if we get some establishment of like exactly what what the stakes are and what everything is going on. And they also have this, like, the new sheriff who replaced Kevin's dad is, we've gone to him a couple times. We go to him again in this. He's obviously doing the Black Hood investigation or whatever, but it's like, again, I don't know why we're spending time with this new sheriff guy. I guess to advance the plot, but it seems like they want him to be a character, I guess, next year. So I really do feel like Kevin's dad will probably come back as the sheriff. I would like to see that story. But this was, Roswell did this when because one of the main characters was basically the town's sheriff, right? And he becomes the not the sheriff anymore. He gets basically like fired in one of the later years of the show, and the show literally never had any idea of what to do with him. He joins a singing band with one of the characters at one point. It was like insane how bad it was. So Polly's in this episode too. I guess.
Oh, Polly. Although Polly got interesting in this episode, I feel there was. I liked what she did. Speaking of the Coopers are under siege, man, because now they know that Hal Cooper was the Black Hood. All the reporters, all the looky-loos are out on the lawn trying to get a glimpse, trying to get the inside story. And Alice Cooper is losing it on them. She is yelling in her bathrobe on the front steps at these people. And Betty has to come through like, get away, and like try and save the day there a little bit. I really enjoyed Alice yelling crazily on the front steps. What did you think?
I loved it. Her sort of emotional breakdown.
Yeah, she looks great in an emotional breakdown. The disheveled look was terrific on her. Because she looked like she was losing it, but she also looked like she was holding it together. Not everybody can pull that off.
No. And I mean, she's always the right status of unfringed, I guess. Like, she's always unhinged. That's what I meant to say. But she's just a little bit nuts, and that she was able to do it very effectively. But I felt for her. I can't imagine myself, like, leave her alone, guys. Like, she's going through some crap, and it would be nice if that new sheriff could, like, I don't know, have a squat car or something out front. It oddly reminded me of that Tanya Harding movie when they were talking about people being camped out outside her house during the I, Tanya. But it was like, that was also based on real stuff, is like they didn't leave her alone for a while during the media stuff. And it was just like, obviously Riverdale's got nothing going on in the news that they have to bother poor Alice Cooper.
They have a mayoral election going on. They do have something going on in the news, a very important mayoral election. In these political times, you don't think that the election should be the #1 news story? Please.
Did you enjoy Cheryl's like little Red Riding Hood moment where she's putting her little cupcakes in her basket with her red capelet? It's amazing.
Imagine if you were her girlfriend. Imagine if you were her girlfriend and she came to you at the White Worm where you are with all of your downtrodden like compatriots and like Native American brethren to bring y'all cupcakes in a little basket. Imagine if that was who you were dating. How lucky can one person be? Tony Topaz, I hope you know how good you have it. That's all I'm saying.
Penelope does warn Cheryl though about the raid on the White Worm. So they have a very complicated relationship. I'm just gonna say, more than any of the other parents and children here, more than I would say even the Lodges, which are clearly the most dysfunctional. I do like the scene where Hermione goes to talk to Veronica and basically says that, she gives her the information about the White Worm being the next target of Hiram's expansion plan. But then she also does drop this like very little thing, which I believe is going to be more important, that she says, your father has plans beyond the prison. He's consolidating for something. So I don't even know if Hermione knows what it is, or if she does know and she just doesn't want to tell Veronica at this point.
Right. Well, he said, yeah, she says he wants to consolidate the whole area into something. But what? What does he want to consolidate it into? And the crazy thing is that there's just one thing that's keeping his plans from being complete. The white worm. That's the only thing in his way. That's weird to me.
I do feel like they established a lot that they were buying. He really did systematically buy up the whole thing. But here's my point. Are the serpents gonna I have lots of questions about where the serpents are going to live. Like, are they going to live at they can't obviously live at Fred Andrews' house. Could they live at Cheryl's? You know, like, I'm confused.
I thought they were gonna go live at Cheryl's. So okay, so let's just back up for a second. So all the serpents have been displaced. And they're all sort of camping out at the White Worm. Very disheveled, wearing blankets, sleeping on the floor. Tony's trying to take care of them. Cheryl's bringing cupcakes for the group. It's a mess. And they end up saying, okay, they have to get out of this outside, because Cheryl comes to tell them, look, there's going to be a raid, because her mother tells her. And they leave. Now, when they leave, first of all, it cracks me up because they have to go quietly. So what they decide to do is go all at the same time in a group of, several dozen people through the night. That's the best way. I don't think that was the best way. I think they should have just gone a couple at a time, don't you?
Yeah.
That would have been much better. Cheryl is so adorable. Like, I can't. She put those little cupcakes in the thing. I love it. Anyway, they all go to the Andrews house. I thought they were going to go to Cheryl's house. Cheryl has a much bigger house. She has outbuildings. She has property. Why wouldn't they just go to Cheryl's house? I don't know. Maybe Cheryl wasn't ready for that kind of commitment. But then later on in the episode, she explains that she is. So I don't get it. They all went to Fred Andrews' house. But I guess because he's running for mayor, he wanted to help them. I don't know.
Well, so I'm going to back up a little bit too. I'm confused why I'm just seeing the part when Tony says that jacket looks good on you, and Cheryl says everything looks good on me. And I like how they play off each other. But I mean, isn't that better than the Moose Kevin kiss? It isn't just that little moment, because it was pretty good. It distracted me from my thought. But I don't understand. They said that they're going to raid on the White Worm. Why are they could they be arrested for living there? I'm confused.
They're just in their own property. Also, they all go creeping out into the night. They all have motorcycles. They're a motorcycle gang. Why don't they just get on their motorcycles and ride away?
But it's like I would assume there was probably more serpents too. So some of them probably did do what FP said at the beginning. They probably all, like, maybe some defected, maybe some left town. But I don't know. I don't know why they're being arrested. That wasn't really clear to me.
Maybe because of the riot?
But it was some of the kids, and I don't think they could prove it was the serpents.
Well, and also they could still go get them at Fred Andrews' house. It's like they have to get out of the South Side. I don't know. I don't get it. And I think they should have just showed me Tony and Cheryl holding hands. I feel that they were holding hands, and they just didn't show it. I just wanted to see them holding hands as they walked out of there. Come on.
So when this is why I'm so pissed off at Veronica, because when he asked her how she knew about the worm, about that he wanted it, she says it was the hot gossip of all the serpents that ran over to Fred Andrews' house. Why are you telling him where they were? He just tried to literally get them all arrested or ejected. It was like, it's so stupid. And then this whole thing about you're gonna get cut out. I'm not giving you anything after this. You get no money, you get no nothing if I switch this over, and you have to sign over your controlling interest of the company over back to me. It makes, like, she just doesn't seem to get the good side of the deal at all. Where was Sienna McCoy during their crappy negotiation? It's
Sierra McCoy.
oh, did I say Sienna? I'm sorry.
And Sierra McCoy is an attorney. She's not really like a financial planner, so I don't think she could have helped her with that aspect of it. But I mean, I think that Veronica just wants to be free of her father's control, and it's worth the price to her. I agree, she didn't get a good deal, but she has $1 million. Remember?
Didn't she use it to buy the bar?
Not the whole thing.
I don't know.
No, not the whole thing. Okay. I don't think she used $1 million. That bar doesn't cost $1 million. And if you have $1 million, then you can get credit too. So I feel like she feels good about her choices. I don't agree with her choices. I'm just telling you, I think she feels good about them.
Jughead and Betty have a whole conversation about she's not evil, and she cries, and she's like, I'm evil because of my dad and because of our past, and the babies might be evil, and it's very silly.
Well, it's not silly if you really think your family has like an evil gene. You know what I mean? Like,
I really feel like Betty is smart enough to know that she's not evil by nature, right? So that's just how
Why would she know that? Her father's been telling her she is.
I don't know. She's upset because her father is a serial killer. So
I mean, that's really upsetting.
It is upsetting.
So the big Cooper concern is that Alice and Polly want to go visit Hal in jail and speak to him, and Betty does not want to do so because Betty's like, I will never speak to him again.
I really have a lot of problems with, first of all, like the 1970s television set that's behind her head when she goes to talk to her father, but also the fact that it's basically set up like Silence of the Lambs. He's in a gigantic glass enclosure with, I'm assuming, air holes, and so he can like lean in and we can see him like full in frame. I really just don't think the Riverdale PD or whatever institution he's in would have that type of holding cell for him. I think it would be old school iron bars.
You're right. They didn't go with if they have the 70s TV, why would they have the glass enclosure? It's one or the other. You are right that it's adorable when Cheryl and Tony's like, oh, you look cute in that jacket. And then Cheryl's like, everything looks good on me. That would have been a great time for them to kiss.
Maybe, Rose, I think the problem is that maybe they're just not affectionate in public, and that's a problem for you.
Actually, I wanted to talk about this because it did occur to me that this could be part of the narrative, that they aren't affectionate in public for a reason. And if they would like to explore the very possible reason that they don't want to be affectionate in public, I would be interested in this thread. I doubt this is what they're going to do, but it's 100% true that if those two very pretty feminine girls were more affectionate in public, it would attract a lot of unwanted catcalling and male attention. That's accurate. So it is perhaps a choice that these characters might make for that very possible reason. But they're not going to deal with that. They're just not going to let them kiss. So I would love it if they want to go down that route, but they could still show us a private moment, or, whatever. But it did occur to me that might be true. that they just might not be publicly affectionate. But sometimes we see them in private. Can they just have a conversation at least? A conversation, Ryan. So much Hiram Lodge. So little Tony Topaz. I just want more Tony Topaz.
I know you do. Well, she's a regular character next year, so hopefully we'll be able to get to her more. So that's long overdue. Tony, I'm gonna throw this out here. I think Tony should have been a regular in season 2. I think hindsight is 2020. You know, I think. But you know what? Given that fucking Josie and Kevin were main characters, I would argue I don't know if we're gonna see Tony more or less. I would just be concerned.
Oh, snap. Yeah, they don't have time. They gotta work on their time management skills. They just go so far into Hiram Lodge's asshole that they don't have time to turn around, back out, and deal with everybody else. They need to stop with the Hiram Lodge.
I think I've talked a lot about how I am always slightly concerned that Cheryl is super isolated and like not I'm worried about her being too alone all the time, and I was worried about her home life. And there's a couple moments that are just like really silly great in this finale. And obviously my top choice is Cheryl getting the jacket and becoming part of the Serpents, which I don't know exactly how they're going to integrate that into next year. I do think there's a lot of opportunities for her to like sort of interact with Jughead more, which I like. I also love that when they go to give her the jacket, it immediately goes into slow motion. It's so insanely great with like her hair and everything. And she's obviously already got boots to match her brand new jacket, which is custom. So there's that. But it's also this whole thing, which we haven't really talked about, which is they do a couple scenes of the kids from Southside might not be able to go to Riverdale High anymore. They're going to eventually get bused to Seaside. And then it's like all the kids come, probably from the person who helped make Veronica's t-shirts. They all get like loaned leather jackets and they all go in and like with their solidarity with the Serpents. And it is a nice callback to the episode where things were so tense within the students because it's like the North Side kids didn't want the South Side kids there. And then it's like, it is this like the sort of the community and everybody coming together. Mm-hmm. And I like that because obviously Hiram is sort of assaulting the town and trying to create friction and problems and everything. And to a certain extent, so was the Black Hood, which was the most upsetting thing I think about this is that the Black Hood, as Betty's dad, was disconnected from all the Hiram story, which I was really hoping it would be. I mean, obviously Hiram ends up hiring his own serpent Black Hood, right? The tall boy guy, but I don't know. There was such we ended the first year with like the idea that the town was going to be more and more divisive, and it's nice that I don't know, like everybody's kind of coming together. One of my favorite Desperate Housewives episodes was this. It was later in the show, but it was when Paul, I think his name is Paul, right? He comes back and he tries to like rent out a house on the street for like escaped convicts. And then like he gets into it with Lynette, and Lynette sort of galvanizes the community to sort of stop what Paul's doing. And it's not like obviously the escape, it's nice to have a place for people who like went through the prison system and then like they can live somewhere else. But this was a satire show, and it was like all of the escaped convicts were like crazy like murderers and everything. So it was just like, I don't know, I like that like Lynette tries to get the whole street like on the side, and it's just nice to see everybody come together. I wish it I like the school thing because it's not like they're coming together against someone else like that Housewives thing, because I don't think that's a good way to galvanize everybody, right? Like to fight something. But I like the idea of the kids were friends. And it's like Cheryl and Cheryl and Tony, or that, I'm sure other people started dating. Fangs, it was in the musical. They showed a bunch of the Serpent kids there, right? I think Tony was in it too. So it was nice that they become a part of their school, and they didn't want to lose them. And I'm talking a lot about it, but I like that. So
I like it too. Here's something I have to talk about that I had a problem with. Okay, so this has nothing to do with what you were just saying, but there's some voting in this episode, and maybe I'm confused, but do you remember when everybody's voting in the gym?
Yep.
Are they voting for the mayor, or are they voting for the school election?
I believe it's confusing because Hermione and Fred are there, but I believe it is they've already done the school election voting in school, and this is for the mayoral election.
Okay. Hermione and Fred are talking, shaking hands, promoting their campaigns, and that's called electioneering, and that is not permitted within a certain radius of the polling area. So they would be arrested for that. You can't do that. That's not allowed.
So I actually know a little bit about election law. They actually are. So first of all, Rose is flipping out and laughing at me. This is super funny because I do know this. So
I love that we know this.
Well, because in Massachusetts there are a lot of laws about this, but the candidates can be on the premises of the voting facility, and they can meet with people, but they can't actively campaign. So just because they're on the premises, I guess you could make an argument that is campaigning, but if they're both there and they're both being given equal time and they're not discussing issues or making public statements, that is probably permissible. They're probably not breaking the law.
They appeared to be campaigning. And I will tell you this, in New York City, you are not allowed to canvass within a certain area of the polling place. And my city council person was standing outside the polling place doing exactly what they are shown doing in this episode. And somebody reported it, and the police came, and he had to leave the area. So I think it was not, I don't think it was great. I don't think it was good. I think that somebody else, a third party candidate, would have definitely called in foul play on that. All right. So results of the election. School election.
Archie
is the class president. Tight shirts win.
And Veronica's still VP, right?
I guess.
Did she drop out? Because they don't say. I don't know if they say that in the line of dialogue. But it is. I will just say, I would really like us in our respective rooms to have an Ethel Muggs campaign poster.
Oh my God.
I didn't say how much I love them, but I think we should just let our listeners know how much we deeply love them.
Underdog. So Archie wins, and the Serpents get to stay, and Cheryl and Tony do give each other a little hug for that. So that's nice. And then BT Dubs, I believe Cheryl and Tony are living together at this point. They don't show it, but I don't see why not. Tony has no house, and Cheryl has a giant one. Plus, they like having sex with each other, so I don't see why that wouldn't happen. Anyway, speaking of what else happens. Oh, so everybody's feeling good. Everybody's feeling like everything's going well. The Serpents are having their little cookout by the river. A lot of adult serpents at that thing.
Yeah, I would say the reason why I'm saying it's definitely the mayoral election is because there's so many adult serpents who are there. I would also just say that.
Right. That's why I'm so excited about the electioneering, right? So the Serpents are having a thing, and Effie passes the reins to Jughead. Jughead is the king of the Serpents now. He's their leader. Now, he did get murdered almost for their sake, and he was willing to do it. So I can see why they would say he could be a good leader. He's definitely committed to the Serpents. More than many.
Sure.
Cheryl is also committing to the serpents. And you're right. As she approaches the dais, let's say, to get her amazing red leather jacket on, she's wearing leather shorts as well. And like thigh-high red leather boots. Like, I don't know what leather shop she attends.
The one Veronica rented all the jackets for all the kids at the school when they did it, obviously.
But she is amazing, and Tony knows it. Tony just gives her this like heart eyes look, and it's adorable. Like, she's like, I can't believe you're doing this. I have the best girlfriend in the world, which indeed you do. And then Jughead just gives like this cute little smile, like, Cheryl Blossom's a serpent. Like, we never thought we'd see this day, but it actually works. Like, it's just cute. It's just cute. I hope it works out. I don't know what's gonna happen with Cheryl as a serpent. It's going to be interesting.
Again, I think it gives more opportunities to have her sort of zaniness with all of the stuff with Jughead that has been so heavy all year. It's, you know, I don't really know what they're going to kind of do with the serpents. I think when the show sticks more to the high school stuff, it does a better job. I think the best episode we probably did in like recent months was the one when they all go to the cabin, which I think is odd that I feel that way, but I like the finale. I do think that it was interesting, and they sort of end it with this weird cliffhanger of Archie getting arrested for murder, which is like, I guess, interesting. I guess I want to see how it plays out.
Yeah, he didn't murder anybody, so I hope it plays out that he gets released from jail. But obviously there'll be drama before that happens. Fred loses the mayoral election, and Hermione comes to give him a congratulatory handshake and say, good game. I want to point out that Fred also wears pretty tight sweaters and shirts. Archie, it's a genetic thing, I guess, maybe, in that household. Or maybe they don't know how to use the washing machine and everything shrinks.
Maybe when Molly Ringwald was there, she was buying them clothes that actually fit them. You know, that could have been a possibility. So
maybe Archie grew and nobody bought him new clothes. And then his dad just got fatter. And so then after that, Archie's like, where's your dad, Veronica? And Veronica's like, I don't know. So Archie decides to go pay Hiram a visit. Their final romantic encounter, I think you could call this. A farewell embrace. Archie, you are the one who signed a blood oath with this man. Nobody made you do this. Do you know what I mean? He's so mad. He's so mad at Hiram. He has to sneak in his house, remind him that he fucks his daughter, bring out a fucking huge knife. You did this to yourself, Archie. You got involved with this person. You wrestled for him. You showed him your nipple in your little wrestling gi, as Ryan would call it. And it is not called.
I knew it was I know in my heart it's not a gi, but I also knew that it would eventually stick with you, and I'm glad that I finally got my way. Like, I'm excited about that.
Happened in season 2. Anyway, so Archie's all head up. But Archie, you did this to yourself. I understand why he's so upset right now. He's like, oh, you like made my dad lose, and you're fucking with Veronica, and I will be haunting you wherever you go. I'm gonna be watching you. I'm coming for you. I won't hesitate to stick this phallic object in you. And frankly, this is what Hiram was waiting for all along. He wants Archie to get so aggressive with him. I feel like when Hiram Lodge faces off with him, Hiram is like, oh my God, this is the hottest thing that ever happened to me. He seems really disconcerted because of his erection. That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
I don't even think that's a controversial statement. Like, that's obviously, like, Hiram has been playing a dangerous game and it's coming back upon him and he's so aroused. But I mean, I just also don't know why Archie's so aggressive. Like, he put himself in this position. Like, this is what you reap what you sow, Archie. And you sowed some bullshit with Hiram Lodge, so that's what you reaped.
Betty or Veronica episode?
Betty, because we didn't talk about Betty going to see her dad. So Betty does go to see her dad in the end. She worries that the babies are evil, that she's evil. I did like it when she and Jughead were playing with the babies. I wish they had played with the babies more and done fun stuff with the babies, but they didn't. They just put them in little baskets. But Betty goes to see her dad in that Hannibal Lecter setup. And she basically like renounces him and is like, I'm done with you. You have no hold over me. And I feel like that was a powerful thing. That was a risky thing for her to do. And I admire her pluckiness and fortitude and facing off with her father that way. So I'm going to give it to Betty.
I give it to Betty as well. So.
And gayest moment of the episode, Ryan?
So I would say Hiram's face right before Archie gets arrested is the runner-up for me, because he was very aroused. He was about to see Archie Andrews in bondage. But I'm going to go, obviously, with the Kevin Moose kiss, because I liked that in the finale, they got to also have a ending of that story that they opened up in Kevin's episode with Moose and I feel like we saw them together in the pilot and they never kind of really resolved whatever relationship thing they had, and maybe this just opens it up for more unresolution, but I'm excited that progress was sort of made.
I agree. I understand what you're saying. We forgot to mention that. Okay, so Veronica trades the White Worm for Pops. So now Veronica owns Pops. And she decided that she's going to open a speakeasy cabaret for world-class entertainment and decadent cocktails.
Oh, I forgot. I repressed this, but hold on. Can I just like, this ages us probably beyond what our audience is, but can I just say she's talking about the Peach Pit After Dark.
100% it's the Peach Pit.
You immediately thought that, didn't you? You were like, okay, yeah.
What other diner with a after hours club is there? It's the Peach Pit After Dark, and there's nothing else it could possibly be. I can't wait. I'd love to see the Peach Pit After Dark. Dylan McKay will be hanging out there, I'm sure. FP is the manager of it. Why? I don't know. He's never managed a bar. He has no experience. It's not a good idea for us.
I believe Dylan McKay was the investor in Peach Pit After Dark, which is probably he gave his wisdom to these kids, and it's where they came up with the whole thing. So
best of luck in that very, very tenuous endeavor, Veronica. There's another person making some business dealings that we also didn't talk about. I will get to my gayest moment, but I feel like we need to cover these things. Hiram is having a meeting.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I talk about Betty and Veronica too soon? Did I make you make your choice too early in the podcast? I apologize.
No. My choice is made on that front, but I do think we need to talk about Hiram's meeting with his associates, which include Penny Peabody, the guy from the Ghoulies, Clifford.
They named the guy from the Ghoulies. I forget what his name is.
Malachi. His name is Malachi.
Malachi. Like Children of the Corn. That's how you remember that.
Yeah. Malachi, Penelope, Clifford, and that like bullshit sheriff are all there. Is there anybody else there? No, that's it. Just those five. That's his big crowd. And the best part of it is that Penelope's like, but you're gonna give me a brothel, right? Like, yeah. So I'm getting a brothel. Like, when's my brothel? Like, where's the brothel keys at? Like, when? So I'm like making appointments. I'd really love to do a soft open. She's really excited about her brothel. And I mean,
she's gonna do a couple brothel pop-ups. She's gonna try to determine what the best location is. So
she's just excited for her business. Like, she's not even really in it for the evil, although she'll go along with the evil. She just really wants a brothel. I can't wait to see who else is going to work at the brothel, though, right? Because if you have a brothel, you're going to have other employees.
There was this great line in Firefly where Jewel State's character goes in And she goes, look, they have boy whores. That's thoughtful. And I do hope that it's not just, I hope this just doesn't objectify women. I hope it objectifies men as well. That's
Oh,
just
yeah.
what I'd like to throw out there.
Men have always been objectified in Riverdale. They would never overlook that. Okay. Speaking of men, shirtless men, Jughead and Betty are cozy in bed, and Jughead makes a proposal, I guess you could say, to Betty. What are your thoughts?
To be the Serpent Queen. I mean, again, I would just say that the way they're talking about this means that they're not ready to lead a group of people that literally are homeless. Like, that's the situation that we're in. And I just want them to think long and hard about that, because I don't know that there's a North Side trailer park or that they have built affordable housing. So this is what I'm going to say.
I feel like Jughead was really like asking for like a deeper commitment, maybe. Like, I don't think he was like really saying she had to join the Serpents. I think he was like, I kind of want to marry you. But she's like, cool, I'll join the Serpents. She's into it. I mean, they're fucking. He's cute.
They're already married. It was, I mean, like, I feel weird saying this, but it's like cute to see them like in bed together, and like they got a hotel and they're kind of celebrating not getting murdered, and I like it.
Yeah, it's always good to not get murdered. Question. Oh, Polly says that her mom should join a cult, basically. So that'll be fun. I'm looking forward to that next season.
Or that she's at least going to get it on with a cult leader, I think was the general idea.
That would
so
be. I mean, I'm sure Alice in a cult sounds great because she's a little unhinged. Polly's a weirdo. It'll be fun. They have a pep rally. Oh, okay. So there's a pep rally for Archie's swearing in, I guess you could say. And here's something interesting. The Vixens perform, but Cheryl and Tony do not perform with them. I don't know if it's interesting to you. It's interesting to me. Cheryl and Tony are in the audience, looking slightly disheveled. Perhaps they were elsewhere and missed their cue. Anyway, Josie sings the national anthem. Now, I know that national anthem is in the news all the time. Lots of.
I think if they were performing, maybe it was only a certain amount of Vixens, but I feel like if they were performing, we can see them in the audience together, which I liked. I like that. Yeah.
They were very cute. They were looking at each other cutely during the national anthem. I don't know why, but they were very, they loved it. And Josie does a great job singing the national anthem. Now, the police decide that during the national anthem, this is the time to arrest Archie. Is that disrespectful to America?
I think that's how you make Riverdale great again.
Archie's so astounded to be arrested, and Josie is so upset to be interrupted while singing. She's like, what? I am singing. I'm singing very well.
No, she was like, I have not gotten to sing up in this bitch for quite a while, and you're really going to interrupt me? That's really what we're going to do right now. So
everybody's so upset. Why would you interrupt somebody, and why would you arrest a boy in front of his whole school? But I mean, I guess that's what Hiram Lodge wants. And you're right. That is a very gay moment when Hiram Lodge is like, I've got you. He gives him a little nod. He's like, ha ha. I've bound you again, Archie. My gayest moment is not this moment, although it is quite gay. I'm going to say my gayest moment is when it's hard. I mean, it's hard not to say that Kevin and Moose are the gayest moment.
I know you don't want to give it to the boys. I'm
no,
sorry.
I mean, it's the gayest moment. It's very gay. It's very gay because, especially because it's Moose overcoming his non-gay side, right? Like he seems bi or pansexual or something. So he is grieving for Midge, but then the gayness takes over and like sort of propels him into Kevin's arms. So I will say that's the gayest moment. However, Tony's look to Cheryl when Cheryl puts on that red leather jacket is also quite homosexual. She is enamored with her girlfriend being a serpent, and it's really cute.
Well, now they're in the same gang, so
that's commitment, yo. Cheryl has to get a serpent tattoo. Where is Cheryl's serpent tattoo gonna be?
Oh, obviously on her, like, what's it, like, on this spot in her foot, you know, like, right, not on the foot, but, like, on her ankle, you know, like a cute little snake.
Her ankle? I don't
know. I mean, like, you know, the place that's, like, on the inside of your, like, the bottom towards your foot.
That's the ankle.
Where, like, that's where girls get cute tattoos.
But I don't feel like Cheryl's gonna. I don't know. Her skin is so milky white. I'm concerned about it.
I don't think Cheryl Blossom can get a tattoo because the minute that needles touch her skin, she just starts oozing maple syrup, and she can't let anybody know her secret.
Cheryl knows it. Tony knows.
You know what her secret is? Do you know what her secret is, Rose? She's too sweet.
Oh my God! I'm sure there's some fan fiction about it.
She can't let anyone know. She can't let anyone know.
It's her
Tony's already too close. But doesn't it look now you're getting my hair in some lighting? Doesn't it look like I kind of went Archie a little bit? Yeah.
Ryan has reddish hair now. It's true. It is. It is.
It's more of a honey brown, but it does look red.
You're a blossom.
I am, and I have blossom blood in me. I am entitled to my inheritance. Please give it to me right now.
Oh my God. All right, Ryan. It's been a real thrill. I can't believe it's been a whole season.
It's true. So let me we can do recommendations right after this because I guess I already did the other stuff early, but we should let our listeners know. So Rose still, obviously we're going to be putting these up as you edit them. I think you're caught up a little bit. Are you?
Almost. Yeah, there's two.
Okay. So my intention is to continue with Rose and to keep providing some season 1 episodes because we did promise you guys that, like, I think over Christmas, and just time got away from us. So I think we'd like to keep the momentum going, right?
Yes, definitely. And I want to talk about season 1 now in light of season 2.
And it would be fun, like, now we can talk about when they first introduced Tony and all of that, because she was in season 1. So we'll have a lot to say. And I finally get to do the episode when Jughead and Betty kiss, because as our loyal listeners will remember, I have wanted to do that one forever since we started doing this.
Yeah.
So we won't do any episodes that we've already done. So I know, like, the pilot has been one, and there's been a couple others. So we'll do them, I think, in order would be the idea. So we're gonna start next week with episode 2 because we have not done that one yet.
We will do that. I'm excited. All right. Recommendations. Anything you'd love to highlight for the group?
Well, so I was delving into some Netflix TV last night. I ended up taking the day off and just for fun. And I watched there's 8 new episodes of Arrested Development. And they're all, I have to say, it's gotten pretty funny again. So it's very referential to the 4th year when Netflix did all those episodes that everybody hated that also had a lot of problems. But it's funny again. I would say if you like Arrested Development, if you've never watched it, go back and watch the beginning. Arrested Development is great. I also gave 13 Reasons Why a watch because everybody was saying it was good. And what I'm going to say is it is very well cast. And I think some of the visual direction is really great. I can see why it was based on a book. And this is what I like to remind people. The core story of that was what the book was about. And I remember when I worked in New York and that book was in YA collections and people had problems with the book. People have problems with the show, and it goes into different things, and it's, it talks about sexual assault, and it's dealing with kids, and so I'm glad that it at least starts conversations about these issues. I think a lot of people are upset with how the fictional characters handle these things, and it's like, again, not everybody handles things great in certain moments, and I think you got to remember that. But I would say the show's interesting, and a lot of people were like, "Why is there a second year of it?" And I would have to say that I like the second year so far. I like that it takes place a little bit of time after the first round, and I don't know if you've seen it before or you have any interest in watching it, but the kids are all really great in it, I have to say. And OG Reggie is in it, and he plays a very nice guy, which is actually kind of fun. So
I have not watched it. I'm not particularly interested in it, but from what I have heard from other people, I don't think it's that people don't understand that these are fictional characters who may handle things in maybe not an ideal way. But the concern that I've heard is that people, yes, you're right, it should start a conversation, but not every young person has an adult there with them to have that conversation. And not everybody has that kind of relationship or support with somebody. So I think that the concern that I've heard from some people who have kids and some people who don't, or have teenagers and some people who don't, is that maybe these stories are very like intense and bringing up a lot of things that should be discussed and not handling it within the show in a way that seems like to be perhaps useful for the viewer, leaving the viewer kind of with this information, but no scaffold for using it in a way that seems healthy. And then if that person doesn't have an adult or other person that they can kind of process it with, they may be just left with some kind of stuff that's not easy to handle. You know what I mean? Which is, sometimes what entertainment can do, but I think because it seems to be targeted at teens, that seems to some people to be irresponsible. But I don't know. I've never seen it.
I would say that like there's a couple younger actors who are in it. So I this is like when we start with Riverdale and I don't know everybody's name, but the girl who plays Jessica, who is one of the sexual assault victims. Sorry if it's like a spoiler for anybody, but they deal with that a lot in the second year. And I think that they're handling her better than they did in the first year. And then her boyfriend is played by this kid named Justin, who they kind of go into how hard his home life is. And he eventually is homeless at the end of the first year. And I'm glad that, I don't know, the kids are like helping him now because he was like very much on his own. And I would say that they don't like shy away from like how crappy his life was and then how it is when he leaves it. So I like them. And then Kate Walsh is in it as the mother.
I like her.
And I would just say that like Kate Walsh's performance in it is almost like should win awards. They're going into a lot more of her character in the second year because I think they're recognizing how good she was. And I think she equally is she like sues the school, she's looking to blame the other kids. And I think there's a lot of like inward moments where she blames herself for what happened. And, I think that when you have I can't even imagine what it's like for a parent who has a kid who kills themselves. It just is it's a horrible thought. But the show has a problem with portraying the girl because she's a central character as a protagonist. And it's like,
yeah,
she doesn't, there are many, they're also, the second year is interesting because now the kids are in court for this court battle. And you're finding out that especially the main boy in it, who was sort of her romantic interest, he's finding out that there's elements of the story that she told on her tapes, which like he didn't know. Because the whole idea is that you can't know every element of the story, right? So some of the kids are giving out additional information. And a lot of it is making her seem like not putting her in the best light. And I think that it was the show kind of dealing a little bit with, well, this girl is like somebody that you like, because you can't help but like her a little bit. And the actress is her name is Catherine Langford, I think, and she's going to go on to do great things, I'm sure. She was in Love, Simon. Remember how Riverdale made us watch that? And she was great in it. But you like her. And I think that they're starting to do things where maybe she wasn't the best human being. And it was maybe there was a lot more going on with her than we realize. And I think that's part of it is a couple of the kids in the first year are like, she killed herself for attention. And they're minimizing it because they're kids. But part of this is she did have people she could talk to. And in a way, she doesn't. So it's like there must have been other things going on with her. And I like that the show is kind of playing with that a little bit.
It's a lot. It's a lot. I mean, even to just hear about it, like from you, it seems like a lot. It seems like a lot for them to be tackling.
I held off on watching it for a long time, and it's like I'm going to take a break from it for a while again, and I don't know. I wasn't in a big rush to go back. I will say I shotgunned. I think I told you about this last weekend, some episodes of The Handmaid's Tale, and it's a show everybody should be watching. It's so good.
I also don't watch The Handmaid's Tale. I know it's very good, but
you have to be in the right headspace, Rose. It's so upsetting.
I'm not in that headspace. I haven't been in that headspace for a year and a half. Okay. Do I have any recommendations? I don't know.
Something more uplifting than what I just did.
Anne of Green Gables is always good. It's a great book, great miniseries. It's always pleasant. It's nice. It has a lot of great descriptions of nature and passionate female friendships. And kindness toward children, and even kindness towards older people. I love it. There's nothing upsetting. I'm going to go the opposite way of Ryan and say you guys should read Anne of Green Gables or watch the classic Canadian miniseries starring Megan.
No, that's okay. It's weird, but I do feel like watching upsetting TV makes me like appreciate my own life more. So there you go.
That's good. That's good. Look. I like I don't like upsetting TV now that I think about it.
You love Rizzoli and Isles, which is just a feel goodery. That's just what it was.
Law and Order SVU. Like I like SVU. And SVU can get pretty dark. But it always gets like resolved sort of, or at least it gets like they reach a conclusion, whether or not it's the right conclusion. It's sort of satisfying in a way.
Yeah.
And I like true crime stuff. Like I like my true crime podcasts, which I guess are really disturbing. But I don't like to watch disturbing narrative television. I don't know why.
I was thinking about
I can't ship it. That's why I can't. There's no fanfic in it for me.
Is it terrible of me? Now I'm just like talking to you, but like, is it terrible of me when I come to New York this summer to try to see if I could get tickets to see Melissa Supergirl in?
No, if you go, I want to go. Let me know.
I don't want to go to it. I'm not gonna lie. That and the Boys in the Band. But I read the plot of the Boys in the Band, and I kind of don't want to see the play now.
And my mom saw it; she didn't really like it, but I did see Beautiful, and I loved it. It was really funny. It's really, really funny, actually, and I love the songs. It's great. I'm sure she'll do a good job. Like, it's a very entertaining show. And if you go, I would totally go again. Let me know.
Okay. Did you see her in it? Did you see her in it?
No, I saw whoever was in it before. I don't know. A great actor. I mean, a good actress. The only thing is that you have to pretend to be Carole King. And Carole King is like from Queens and she has an accent and she's got like a certain style to her. So I'm sort of interested to see how Melissa Benoist will do with that. But she's an actress. I'm sure she could do it.
Yeah, I just don't know. I don't know how long she's going to be in it or what tickets are like. I might do some investigation.
I don't think it's like one of the most expensive shows out there. So we'll see.
I don't know if I told you, I did see Ali Wong and it was amazing. She was so funny. Yeah.
Let's see. How long is she going to be in Beautiful? Let's see.
Are we just looking things up on our computer right now? I totally think you should keep this in the podcast to see if people are still with us.
See her? She's in the
through August 4th. So I got some time.
All right, you let me know.
Okay.
Oh my God, everything's just...
Oh my God, we went to the same website to look it up. That's hilarious.
Evil Magazine.
Yes!
Where I get all my Meghan Markle news.
Oh my God, samesies. I did it. So I asked David's hairdresser today. Her name is Jade. Shout out to Jade if she's listening. But I'll tell her she's in this now. But I was like, oh, did you watch the royal wedding? And she was like, I was asleep. And I was like, oh, why don't you care? You're the first person who doesn't care. Why don't you care? David hates it. He hated all of the royal wedding.
Oh my God, I loved it. It was so entertaining and nice. And also, it was just nice for like 20 minutes not to hear fucking bullshit coming out of my television. I feel like when Cheryl Blossom put that serpent jacket on, it was like the royal wedding. It was like an American joining the British royal family. That's what it was.
It looks, I don't think it's sold out. I think you can still relatively get tickets.
I'm telling you, it's been on there for a long time, so it's not sold out. Like, it's not like a hot ticket, but it is a good show. So I will go. Anyway, I gotta go.
Okay.
Good night, Ryan.
Good night. It was lovely talking about the Riverdale finale with you.
As always, have a lovely evening.